All right, another 1v1. High Elves, Tomb Kings, together again. Let's see how this goes. Another one from our Warpstone Cup. This one instead is against... This one is against Xiphos playing as the High Elves, and King of the Dead playing his beloved Tomb Kings. This is his favorite faction, the one he is best at. This was our last Warpstone Cup on last Wednesday, which we'll be having another one this coming Wednesday. So if you're interested in watching some of this level of play, please do tune in. Now, let's take a look at our High Elf army because it is, of course, my favorite one. We've got 4 whole units, almost said 3, of High Elf Spearmen here. These guys are great frontline units with martial prowess up and running. They have 22 melee attack and 50 melee defense, which doesn't seem huge, but if you compare that to just a normal kind of rank and file Spearmen of the Empire, they almost double their melee defense when martial prowess is up. So it really makes them a very strong and stalwart defensive initial kind of tier 1 troop unit. Now we have 3 units of Phoenix Guard here, which are you're going to be your biggest threat to the opponent here as far as what they can field, right? You've got AP, you've got anti-large, and what do you deal with when you deal with Tomb Kings? Constructs of all shapes and sizes. So those Phoenix Guard really do allow for that level of play. Now we do also have 2 units of Silver Helms on each flank. These guys are, it doesn't have the little button here, but it does have anti-infantry. These are a really good unit here just to kind of use to harass the back. I'm sorry, it's 3 units of Silver Helms. You can use these to really harass the back line, get up close and personal with the entirety of the Tomb King army, because you're going to see a lot of Chosen of the Gods, Ushabti bowmen, right? You're going to see a lot of just spear or infantry as a whole, so you can use them to really kind of knock them around. Now you do have a Mage of Life here, which is huge. You do need life almost all the time, I feel, with the High Elves, almost like the same way you do with Bretonnia. It makes them very, very, very strong. Now you also have a very strong, very interesting off-meta pick here in Tyrion. He does have AP. He does, well, he should actually have flaming attacks or magic attacks as a la Sun thing, but I'm not seeing it on his profile for some reason, but it is there nonetheless. Now, let's look at King of the Dead's army. He does have 2 Tomb Scorpions, and these guys are so scary. They are so scary to this army here. They are anti-infantry, they're AP, they're going to be able to rip apart almost everything in the entirety of the High Elf infantry roster. And the biggest thing about High Elves, I'm going to pause it so we don't miss any of the action. The biggest thing with the High Elves is they have really elite infantry lines, right? So bringing these guys here is just a really just devastating pick here. Now, across the rest of the line, you do have a lot of Skeleton Spearmen, but you're going to see a lot of Tomb Guard with Halberd here. Now the Tomb Guards with Halberds, they both kind of like picked against each other in the conventional sense of, okay, I want Tomb Guard with Halberd because I want to be able to knock out a lot of Dragon Prince play, or a lot of Dragon, you know, the beast itself, a prince on a dragon play. And for the Phoenix Guard, I want to use them to knock out a lot of construct play. So you can see what their mindsets were at. You know, it's weird too. You see, you've got Grave Guard, Tomb Guard, Phoenix Guard, Black Guard. There's another guard, a Temple Guard. There's like every number of guard in this damn game. But you've got all the Tomb Guards of Halberds here, and some 2 flanking units of the Spearman units. I think we have the Blessed Legion of Fakov here somewhere. Nope, totally wrong. We have 2 Necrotechs, which are going to be strong because these Necrotechs, even though because they've got a special, you know, yellow glowy whip, that means that they're so good at raves. Those guys are really just there to have a great time, but they've got 2 abilities here, right? So Stone Shaper gives armor and missile resistance to all the constructs in range, right there, namely, of course, and then Restore, which allows you to heal those constructs, and lastly, Wrath of the Creator, which increases the AP and melee attack of constructs. So I'm not sure about the stacking capabilities of these two Necrotechs, but you've got ability to use Restore 4 separate times on 2 constructs, which is very, very, very strong. Now, they do also have a very strong front line, 3 just regular Ushabti here. These guys are your AP anti-infantry as well. Just really planning to be a really just up close and personal in the face of any kind of elite High Elf infantry. And these guys are really going to make sure that happens. Also have... Come on. There we go. Grand Harrowfet Kotep himself, not on his Roomba, on his horse. So he is going to be bringing the Lore of Nehekara to the battlefield here, in conjunction with his Sandstorm, which is very similar to Bone Storm. It's blue instead of the original or yellowish taupish color that it typically is. You have Nero's Incantation of Protection, which is the massive 44% physical resistance buff, as well as Joff's Incantation of the Cursed Blade, which is weapon strength and AP damage. And lastly, of course, we have got the Chosen. Now these guys are going to be really strong in this matchup, especially because I've got Shieldbreaker, which is going to reduce that missile parry by 24 of all of these units with, shields. So let's go to normal speed here and see how things get going. There's going to be a lot of just hecticness in this entire fight, so just try to bear with me here as we deal with this across the way. We have the first kind of charge here being absorbed by these spearmen. Ushabti's screening through that, trying to get this charge done properly with the Phoenix Guard into them. Ushabti in the background, ready just to jump in at the last minute's notice. Then get the Silverhelms plummeting into that, so you just got this sandwich of charges going on across over here. The Chosen of the Gods firing into this line. Get both the Tomb Scorpions jumping in here. And look at this threading of the needle here. Getting these Silverhelm all the way through, getting to the back line, getting a rear charge ready to go. Oh man, look at this. Right into the Chosen of the Gods. Take a look at this, guys. We have got these Tomb Guard with Halberd. They're just giving the business to this Mage of Life on a chariot. I mean, this is not a good engagement for that Mage of Life. And as you can see, the health is already at half. The leadership is just tanking hard and heavy. And boom! Something ripping through the entirety of that unit. But, I mean, it did a chunk of damage here to this Tomb Guard with Halberd. But, oh my god, look at that. Each time the Tomb Scorpions hit, just chunks that health away. Oh god. Woo-saw indeed. And shattered completely. That is going to be huge. There it is. I mean, we're barely like a minute into play here. We have got one unit of Silverhelms knocked out of the play, and this Mage of Life is completely shattered. Even Stand Your Ground won't be able to bring that back. Now, the biggest thing there is that completely negates this is a very unceremonious, thus not focused on Storm. That is a huge thing because it's negating a whole entire Winds of Magic for the High Elves, which is arguably one of their strongest points. They have access to all these great casters and lores and all this action. And doing that, they just completely shut that portion of their army down. Trying to get these Chosen of the Gods completely neutralized here. You do have the Skeleton Spearmen reinforcing them, getting onto those Silver Helms. You've got Kotep back here as well, getting some additional Spearmen in on them. You've got these Phoenix Guard pushing in on this kind of left flank, trying to get some purchase onto these Tomb Scorpions, but they are just going to run amok through the battlefield here. Their attack animation, watch this. They're going to just pounce through this whole entire unit as soon as they really get going. I promise it happens. This isn't usually, there it is, see? Aha! And this non-stop raking through is what's going to happen there. Got this unit of Ushabti starting to really get knocked around heavily. We're on Realm rank 2, tier 2 of Realm of Souls, which is the unique ability for Tomb Kings here. It does replenish units as well as resurrect them, so it kind of keeps them up in the fight here. Every cast, too, this is important to kind of note. I think we have Joff somewhere on here. I thought that Kotep had casted it. Well, every time Kotep casts a spell, let's take a look at this. This is very important for the lore of Nehekhara, is right here, the Restless Dead. So it resurrects dead combatants as well as healing them whenever a spell is cast here. So it's like constantly having a Realm of Souls ticking off. So you kind of, that's the important thing about the lore of Nehekhara. It has very low Wind of Magic usage, cost I mean, but so it allows you to kind of constantly be able to get those spells off constantly over and over and over again. It does, any of that healing does not work on constructs. That is relegated solely to the Necrotechs. So that's why the Necrotechs are in this army. You can see one of them right here, another one right there. Still in pretty good health here. But we've got Tyrion is over here trying to get something done. You've got Ushabti, you've got 2 Scorpions, you've got Tyrion, all on Kotep here. Or with Kotep as well. Kotep has casted Nero's Incantation of Protection, trying to keep himself in this fight. Tyrion is a duelist. He's meant to kind of fight through and through, one-on-one in this kind of situation. This is what he was bred for, from a lore perspective. So he's in there just to give the Roomba Master his just deserves, which is a flaming sword to the face. But as you can see, he is just firmly surrounded. It's hard for Tomb Scorpions to focus on a single target. So when you have them attacking a single target like Tyrion, you can see Tyrion's really not receiving that much damage. There's not much threat here by these Tomb Scorpions. They're going to spend most of their time jumping around, their attack animation really negating their strengths. In an actual unit like this, like these, grab these Phoenix Guard, it's enabled them to really do a lot more damage. You can see here that Tyrion is relentless. He is just in Kotep's face. That guy doesn't have a nose. It doesn't matter to Tyrion. He wants to get up close and personal. I believe he just used riposte, sorry, parry and riposte. No, Nero's incantation again. And just trying to keep Kotep alive here, because if Kotep falls, that is going to be a huge swing back towards the High Elves here. You can see the High Elf infantry starting to mop up the remainder of the Tomb Guard. Kind of being the one thing that is true about the High Elves, of course, is their infantry being able to kind of keep them alive and throughout the fight. Kotep kind of pushing away there. Tyrion still in pretty good shape. Fate and Riposte has kicked up here, giving him some melee defense, giving him that 22% bonus to physical resist. He is looking to just stay alive here and hopefully put in a good amount of punishment to Kotep, who is now in a pretty bad place. He is surrounded pretty much by nothing but anti-large units. Even though there's scant remnants of them, they're still very threatening on the battlefield. What's the biggest thing here that Xiphos has going for him is that he's got 2 units of Phoenix Guard in relative good health. For the rest of his army, at least. Tyrion, though, does break out, just juke away from these Tomb Scorpions, hunting down Kotep, who is over here trying to escape the wrath of one of the twins of Anarion. But you've got this unit of Spearmen moving on to this other Skeleton Spearman unit. The Silver Helms finally just getting completely neutralized. Uh-oh! Boom! Sunfang going off across the way. Plomp! Ripping up all those Spearmen. Kotep is in a bad place here, getting knocked apart. Look at that, just significant charge bonus in from Tyrion. Bowsinger going off, getting that vigor bonus, getting that speed bonus, trying to bring down Kotep. Does it happen? Hint, yes it does. Alright, Tomb Scorpions now really, again, don't have much of a target here, but there is still quite a bit going here. I do not know the charges in the Necrotex, unfortunately, but they have enough to probably keep one of, if not both of these Tomb Scorpions alive. These are the biggest threats to them, the Phoenix Guard. So the Phoenix Guard do need to get able to push into those Tomb Scorpions and do significant amounts of damage to them, but they do have quite a bit of threat here in this Chosen of the Gods. Those who shot you with great bows are going to be able to do so much damage. Look at them just shooting off into the like this last samurai level into these guys. Tyrion leading the charge into these Tomb Scorpions, trying to do whatever they can, but this is the last bastion for the Tomb Kings. They're not going to flee off the table, but they can diminish entirely from army losses, so that's going to be the big trick here, right? But the bigger the clump of units, really, honestly, the more benefit that these Tomb Scorpions have. They're going to be able to just dive in and out of these units doing massive amounts of damage. And if Tyrion doesn't get himself in a good position, he could stand to actually get whipped around a little too hard and killed, which would just overall just lose it all outright for the High Elves. But still, guys, is it 50-50 balance? Well, 60-40 balance of power in favor of the Tomb Kings, but I mean they've lost all their big tricks. It's just the Tomb Scorpions here. Let's see if Xiphos can kind of pull this out at the last minute. We do have a shattered unit of Spearmen there. Tyrion is on his last leg, just hoping he can get whatever he can. He does not have the Heart of Averlorn, so that's going to prevent him from being able to really get a huge health bonus buff out. Oh no, Tyrion! Oh! He is fleeing off the battlefield right as he was going in for that Alpha Strike on that Necrotech. And now it's down to just the High Elf Infantry, Spearmen and Phoenix Guard. Can they do it? They're in ragtag shape. It's not looking too good for them. 18 seconds left in this fight, guys. We're looking like the Tomb Scorpions are going to be whipping their ways through the rest of this battle. It's so amazing here, right? All of the infantry, for the most part, from the Tomb Kings has been completely demolished, and all you have is just these ravenous, rampaging Tomb Scorpions that are whipping their tails and going wild all over the place. And there it is. A loss for the High Elves, unfortunately. King of the Dead wins this one, which I believe was the second win in the final for the Warpstone Cup, in which case Xiphos came back to win another one, and King of the Dead eventually took the cup. Yes. King of the Dead took the cup, I think. I can't remember. You think I casted it or something like that? Who could remember this? Oh no, it was Xiphos who took the cup. That's right. I just paid him today. So Xiphos actually ended up winning the cup, even though he lost this fight. That was a really huge one for him because he losing this Mage of Life right off the bat. That is what lost it. Had this Mage of Life been in the fight the rest of the way, these Phoenix Guard would have been given sufficient amount of heals, kept in the fight a long time. Even a lot of the just the standard spearmen probably would have been able to come out of their fights a little bit better off than they were. But I mean, you take a look at these spearmen, 15, 12, 2, 22, and 65. Not substantial, but they were fighting against Tube Guard their entire time and in Shabti. I mean, almost all of them made it into the end game just to fight against Tomb Scorpions, and that's nothing to sneer at. But you also have 34, 87, and 76 kills from these Phoenix Guard. Really did a ton of damage. The Silver Helms, I think, just weren't utilized enough. They probably would have been better off with maybe Dragon Princes. But even then, I think you could have been better off with even just White Lions, I mean, or Swordmasters of Hoeth to just kind of act as a buzzsaw. I think that the Silver Helms don't really have as many good matchups as, say, the Dragon Princes do. And for just a pretty insubstantial cost difference, you get so much more. You get Martial Mastery. You just get an overall better unit. You go with the Fireborn, it's a little bit, it's a huge stretch cost point wise. So you kind of really put a lot more out there and get exposed a bit. But I think the Dragon Princes are just such a huge, solid return on investment. But Tyrion, 67 kills. That's just, I mean, you never see Tyrion played with. You always see Alariel or Teclis, and it's awesome to see him played in this matchup. Had this Mage of Life been around, I think that this army would have won. But looking at King of the Dead's army, Necrotechs were used to such good use to keep these two Tomb Scorpions up and fighting. I mean, even though they only got 54 and 47 kills, they were able to cripple so many units by just attacking across the entire line multiple times. You Shabti were able to dish out, what, over 100 kills, so great use of them as well. And the Chosen of the Gods were not shut down almost the entirety of the fight, so they were able to dish out tons of damage as well. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this fight here today. We will be having a Warpstone Cup number 4 on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so do tune in for that if you're looking to see another set of this level of play casted by myself. 25% of the donations during those games does go towards the winner, so it's always a fun time to see people drop in and have some fun. If you have any replays that you want to see cast on the channel, please go ahead and email them to ItalianSpartacus@gmail.com. Happy to cast them here, guys. But as always, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to comment below, like, subscribe, all that cool action. But have a good one and take care.